Preston Bailey again. I want to thank you guys for checking out my different videos and all my different options that I've got online here. What I'm about to talk about, to me, I'm the most passionate about is my job finder portion. Okay, we need to get America back to work. Okay, this is very important. Right now, we've got over 10% unemployment rate. Some experts want to say 9%. It's over 10%. We have close to 20%, if not more, people that are underemployed, people that are making substantially less, 20, 30, 40, and 50% or more income, 50% less income than they were making before. Industries completely demolished. The mortgage industry has been destroyed, real estate, a lot of big industries have been destroyed. So we've got to get America back to work. This is critical to not just the individual success, but to the success of America. And the reason why I'm doing this, in addition to all the things that I mentioned here, is a lot of good, hardworking people, they don't know how to interview. Okay? These are just good, nice, hardworking folks that are just not very polished. They don't know the right things to say. They don't realize that employers, companies, interviews, they're structured because they're looking for a certain type of person. They're looking for a person that wants to give the right answers. The thing that really bothers me is most employers are looking for the perfect employee that does not exist. You know, how do you feel if somebody else comes in late? Well, most people would say, you know, yeah, that bothers me. Well, what you're supposed to say is, no, that doesn't bother you that somebody comes in late. And we're going to go in depth and talk more and more about that in the one-on-one in the job finder. But I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go over your resume with you. Make sure you update your resume. Make sure that you're saying the right things. You know, don't give too much information. Don't give your whole life story, telling all the bad things that you've done about your resume. Okay, it's very important. Make sure you have a clean and polished resume. Continue to apply at more and more jobs. When you're not working, it's very, very hard. I mean, most HR managers and human resources people will tell you, if you don't have a job for 5 and 6 months, if you've been unemployed for 6 months, I don't care what the job is. I don't care if you are CEO of a company and you got to go work at McDonald's, okay? If you have not worked in 6 months, most companies will not hire you. You are unhireable, okay? And the way they view that is because regardless of what you've done before, they go, well, why has nobody else hired you in the last 6 months? So volunteer at your church, volunteer at soup kitchens, non-for-profit, do whatever you have to do to put on your resume. Do not put unemployed, ever, never. Okay, I'm sure you do work at your church. I'm sure you help out friends. So put that on your resume, okay? Update your resume. I'll go over many, many things. And one of the biggest things that most people recommend is if you're over 50 years old, do not put the year that you graduated college. Do not put the year that you graduated high school. Why? Despite what they tell you, there are a lot of places that do discriminate because of age, that they won't even let you get the interview. Okay, so eliminate things on your application that would knock you out of this interviewing process, so to speak. Another important thing, which a lot of people don't realize, is your email address. Don't put things like, you know, sassy, sweetie, whatever, on your email address, okay? Those are things that are very important. If you're not getting callbacks and your interview looks pretty good, that's something they can look at, because HR's goal is just to avoid lawsuits. That's their job. Make sure they have the right candidate. So we got to get America back to work, and I am just one person, but I want to do what I can. I've helped a lot of people getting jobs by just going over practice interviewing. Interviewing is a skill. Like I said, I've had a lot of jobs. I've tried a lot of industry. When I was 18 years old, you know, I did not go to college. So I have a doctorate degree in the School of Hard Knocks. So believe me, I've been to a lot of interviews. The most important information that I can give to you, okay? I was 21 years old. I really didn't know much about anything at this point, okay? Up until that point, you know, my first job at 17, I was a busboy in a restaurant, and then I worked at a grocery store, Winn-Dixie, for about a year as a cashier. Didn't like that either. You know, and then I've done some customer service for a little over a year for Time Magazine. So I didn't really have any real business knowledge before I was 21 years old, as far as the mortgage and the real estate and the investments and those types of things. So I was 21 years old. I applied at Huntington Bank I was desperate for a job. I was not happy doing customer service at Time Magazine. It was a good job right next to my house. I was going to train at the branch for a little while, and then I would literally go across the street, work in an in-store branch in the grocery store in Albertsons. And it was me and a friend of mine who basically get to run this branch, and we could do our own schedule. I mean, it was a great job. It was the best job that you could imagine. And so I applied, and I didn't hear anything back. And I called the bank branch about 4 or 5 times, never heard anything back. Finally, I called them like about the 6th time, and the branch manager says, "Who is this guy that keeps calling? Bring him in for an interview. Bring him in." Okay. So I was able to get the interview by my persistence. My resume looked terrible. I didn't have any skills at that point. And ironically, the day I got the interview, I never forget, I was scheduled to go in the interview in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. And I got the turn down letter that day in the mail that says, "We do not want to hire you. We've hired another candidate, someone much more qualified." Now, I was 21 years old, and I was disappointed. I went in for the interview anyway, didn't bring that up to him, and I noticed on his desk that he had a Fenway Park replica on his desk. Huge baseball fan. He was a huge baseball fan. I'm a big baseball fan, and that's all that we talked about the whole hour-long interview. Seemed like we were closer to an hour and a half. All we talked about was Fenway Park and Carlton Fisk and the home run and Ted Williams and those types of things. I'm 21 years old. I didn't know anything about anything. I was just being myself, okay? I did not realize at that point that your actual knowledge is secondary. How you get along with people and how you communicate with people is the most important thing in any job. If people like you, they will believe in you and they will buy from you. And that is the most important thing. And that's what I realized. One of the other guys that got the job, his name was Raymond Williams, still a friend of mine to this day. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He's in the real estate business. He's doing extremely well. He is one of the sharpest guys you'll ever meet. Extremely sharp, brilliant guy, all those types of things. But I got the job because I had a strong connection with the branch manager. And it turned out to be the best job I've ever had. It's really one of the few jobs I've had where I literally had no boss at all. It was just me and a friend of mine, and we ran that branch. So again, that's the key. Just being persistent, staying in front of people, out of sight, out of mind. That makes a big difference. So there is a skill to interviewing. Okay, they want to hear that you be the hero. They always ask you, tell about some faults, tell about this, tell about that. Okay, and we're going to talk about that, exactly what to say and what not to say. I'll tell you one other quick thing. A friend of mine who was in law enforcement, and he had a great opportunity to work on the oil spill, and he made a pretty good living because he was working a lot of hours, and he did a lot of manual labor as well. And even though he's very proud of that, and he should be, okay, but when you're applying for sales or customer service job, they don't care how big and strong you are. They don't want to hear about how hard of a worker you are outside and like a lawn care or digging ditches and things of that nature, even though it shows your hard work and your work ethic, and you shouldn't be ashamed of that, but you want to focus on what you're applying for. If you're applying for a sales or customer service job, you want to focus on your sales and your customer service. If you're applying for a construction job or a ditch digging job or a manual labor type of job, then you want to go with how strong you are and things of that nature. If you're applying for a security job, talk about your military background if you have some, your security background, martial arts training, and so forth. So those are the types of things that makes a big difference in applying for a job. So I guarantee you that you will get a job if you follow my very, very simple steps and keys to success for my job finder. I guarantee you're going to get more than tenfold on this. And I give you a money-back guarantee. So please feel free to sign up again. Give me a call if you have any questions. Give me an email, whatever you need. Just let me know, and I look forward to working with you. Thanks again.